Welcome to Divorce Dads America, the rebuild. I'm your host, Anthony Thompson. I want to just get right into it. I remember being in Southern California during COVID. My kids locked out of school, doing class on iPads in my garage, parks shut down, not allowed to do anything. I didn't know what to think, but I had a buddy, always a little radical. Everyone has one of those radical friends. He showed up one day wearing a Lions Not Sheep hat. And I fast forward years later, I'm in the blender of my own divorce. I look back and I realize what Sean was building then and what he's built since. And today we have an absolute gift on this podcast. I want to honor him, a man who's lived in the darkest places, like a lot of you have. He's rebuilt, built businesses, loved his kids through the wreckage, led in the middle of chaos. I'm not going to sit here and just celebrate him. I want him to hit you. I said, hit him with your every shot you've got, because I want you guys to do a few things. Open your ears, open your hearts. This is not a place to consume. This is a place where we take action, where we do things with what we hear. So get ready, boys. This is going to be a real one. For those of you guys that are just jumping on, you haven't subscribed or to Apple or to Spotify, jump on, do those things. Share this with a dad. Why? I can't do this alone. Every time you do that, 2 clicks right now, it sends it to another dad who's in worse shape than you. I can't do this on my own. There's a million dads we're going to transform, and it starts with those simple steps. And before I get into this with Sean, I'm going to throw it right in here into this situation where he was in. I want you guys to hear this. There's a dad who's in the blender and they're losing it all. Sean had a point where he was at bankruptcy and divorce at the same time. And most men would tell you one of those things by themselves will absolutely crush you. So I want to know, Sean, from you, what was it like losing marriage and a financial identity at the same time?
I mean, you say the blender. I think that's really the best way to describe it. You don't know which way is up, which way is down. You go from being the CEO and the leader and the visionary and the guy people look to a guy that you're terrified of your own shadow. You're terrified to make a move, make a decision, move forward, move back, whatever it is. It's almost like you're frozen. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. You question yourself, doubt yourself, fear yourself more than ever before. Especially for me, like going through both of those things simultaneously. Like I had made millions of dollars, big company, the whole thing, market crashes in 2008. I'm leveraged $12.5 million. That's fallen. Marriage has fallen. It was I talk about in my book that I felt like I had an elephant on my chest. Like I couldn't breathe. There's those moments where you're like, you know what I mean? And I think every single guy understands that exact space and that exact feeling.
Yeah. What are those thoughts? I always hear guys, like, oh, it's dark and it's, I feel this pressure. What I find is also so helpful is hearing other dads share, other men share. What did the thoughts sound like?
Oh, it was, I was suicidal.
Yeah.
I doubted myself in every way. I literally had the thought process where I was like, I was this self-made entrepreneur, multimillionaire, bankrupt, divorced. Like maybe it would be better for my kids if I was gone. And she met a normal guy, and a guy who just could give them a normal 9 to 5 life. The amount of like, you feel like a fraud. You feel
Yeah.
like you feel like you start to believe it about yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that dark night of the soul, whatever you want to call it, you feel like a complete failure. Here you are, whatever age in life, like I was 30 years old at the time, having this midlife crisis. And I was like, what am I even doing? Like, why am I doing any of this? Like, I'm a total failure. I lost millions. I lost my marriage. I can't keep anything together. And it's horrific. It's horrific. It's paralyzing. I was suicidal for a while. I was
Yeah.
suicidal, and I was wrestling with why I should even stay alive. And that's, in my opinion, that's that dark night of the soul for a man, where he has to figure out, like, forget the money, forget the girls, forget the kids, forget everything. Like, why am I even here? Like,
Yeah.
baseline, square one with God, not like, all right, God, what's next? Why am I even fucking here?
Yeah. Sean, when you're in those moments, what did you do wrong in those moments?
For a while there, I sedated. I drank. That was obviously a big problem. I listened to the critics, and I had people that were not holding me accountable around me. I had people that were fanning the flames of my own anger. She was this, she was that. Yeah, she was terrible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of the worst things you can do is surround yourself with
Mm,
people that will enable your pity, enable your ego, enable all of these things. And obviously, when you sedate, it's just all it does is inflames that. Whether it's drinking, whether it's whatever else. Those were the things that I did. Looking back at it now, were probably the things that kept me stuck the most.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
kept me stuck the most, was surrounding myself with enablers, having people that validated my crap. Because I never held up the mirror.
mm,
I didn't hold up the mirror. And that's where change started for me, is when I finally got to a place where it was like, it's the old saying, like, when the pain of the current reality becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when a man will change. And the pain became
yeah,
so great that I finally like waved the flag and I was like, all right, like, I don't even know what to do. And, God has a mysterious way of putting the right people in front of you. And the guy that came in front of me, he went the exact opposite route. He's like, dude, you're a liar. You're just a liar.
yeah,
Wait a
yeah,
second. I'm hurting and I'm struggling and I need you to like enable me. And he's like, no, you're lying. You're totally lying.
yeah,
This is all your fault. And you're like, wait a second. Let me tell you all the stories. I don't care about the stories. You own it all. Like, this is all you. You did all this. And it was the most
yeah,
humbling, difficult thing for me to do. But that was where everything changed for me. That was the direction that started what became what Lions Not Sheep is. My movement, my change, my vision, my light came in looking in the mirror.
yeah. You mentioned something there with sedate. In our community, we frame it up as pause, which is porn, alcohol, weed, scrolling, and sex. And so most of those are, there's some dad that's dealing with one of those. And like you said before, when you start to actually first get them on the table, be aware that they're there. Then what I'm hearing you say is there was somebody in your life that was, you were willing to listen to, that was going to tell you some of those hard truths. And so from a few of those things that you said were holding you back, whether it was enablers, whether it was alcohol, any of those thoughts, which one did you attack first?
Myself, my story,
Yeah.
my stories. That was the hardest thing for me, because I've never had an alcohol thing. I don't do porn. I think I've looked at porn like twice in my life. Like, there's never been a draw for me. Like, I don't really have any vices that way. Like, I've never had an addiction to pills or addiction to anything like that. It was me. It was my ego. It was like I had been
Mm,
running so big and so hard and building so much. I mean, I was raised by a single mom who worked two jobs. Like, there's no silver spoon. I was hungry from a young
yeah.
age. And for me personally, I found validation in success. So the love that I didn't get
Yeah.
from dad, I love that I didn't get from mom. I became successful at a young age, and that's where my validation came from. Is Sean's the guy with giant nuts who builds big businesses. I was a self-made multimillionaire in my 20s, right? And so
Yeah.
for me, that was my identity, was the driver, the visionary. I had 170 employees. So to go bankrupt and to get divorced, it was just like, yeah, he's full of shit. Like, he's a fraud. He's a scam. Like, none of it's real. And the hardest thing for me was looking in the mirror, was saying, sure,
Yeah.
there was another person here and I had a wife, and I could give you a laundry list of all the complaints and grievances that I had, and things that she did and things that she said, and the dude she was dating who was trying to start fights with me and during pickup and drop off of the kids. But I had to look in the mirror and own all of it. I chose to
Yeah.
marry her. I chose to sign the
Yeah.
divorce papers. I chose to risk on these deals. I chose to bet when I bet and build what I build and buy the land and hire the people. I did all of this. And that
Yeah.
was really the first time in my life that I had understood not just the weaknesses that I had, but the power that I had, because it's polarity.
Mm,
If there's light, there's also dark. And if God has the ability to save you, the devil has the ability to destroy you. So it's like, I will never forget, as long as I live, that one of the most pivotal moments came when my dear friend Garrett, we were having this conversation. I was like, dude, I'm a failure. I'm a failure. Nobody's going to bank on me. Nobody's going to do business with me again. I lost millions of dollars, like whatever, whatever. And he said, I want you to remember something. You had to make them to lose them.
mm,
And that was like an instant paradigm shift for me. That's what, like, I had to look at it and say, yeah, if I can consider myself a failure and I'd lost all this money and I lost my marriage, I also did the good that it took to get those things. I did that. I built the business. I took the risk. I flipped almost 4,000 houses over a 6-year span. I was like one of the leading investment. Anyways, he reminded me, he's like, you can focus on what you lost. You can focus on the pain. You can focus on this, but you also married this woman, raised 3 children, started a business from nothing, hired 170 employees. He's like, you had to make the millions to lose them. And that really
Mm,
framed things for me. It's like, if I'm going to shame myself for the darkness, I get to also appreciate myself for the light.
yeah,
And I think that's where a lot of
that's
guys go
good.
wrong is it's really, look, and I'm sure we'll go in on this in a second, but like we have a real serious problem in with men of just being a victim. We blame everybody for
Yes.
everything. Nobody made you fat. McDonald's didn't make you fat. You did. I
Yeah.
didn't make myself go. I did this. Like, and when you get to that place in life, when you realize like the mirror is your single greatest ally, it's the single greatest terrorist. Like, there's nobody screwing with you more than you. There's no one lying to you
Yes.
more than you. It's not the market. It's not the president. It's not your ex. Your ex might be a lunatic. Great. Nobody's debating that with you. But she has nothing to do with you now. Yeah, but
Yeah.
she says this to my kids. That doesn't matter. What she does, how she does it, what she does with her life has nothing to do with you at this point. And I think what's really, really, really powerful is when a man steps into that space and
Mm,
just looks in the mirror. There's no one else but you. That's one of the darkest, hardest, but also one of the most powerful things that any man walking this earth will ever do, because that's the moment when you realize I can do whatever I want. This is the single
yeah.
person holding me back. This is also my single greatest business partner, love partner that can help me build everything that I've ever dreamed of.
Yeah. When you were going through all of this, I guess there's this part here that you just hit on, which Sean, I can't tell you how many times I hear dads that just, you know, blame. This is happening. My kids are poisoned, and everything that you just said, brother. Everything you just said. So I want all these dads that are listening to this, because you're about to get a master class on what not to do in that moment. Because I want to hear that, Sean. Like what you
Uh,
just said with ownership and that, I think they know it. It's not that they
yeah,
don't know it. The guys that are following this, they know that, like, I'm not here to
yeah.
pat you on the back and say, great job, brother. I'm here because if you want to transform, it's going to take some hard things. And what you just said there, can you sort of unroll that a little bit about what you were feeling your ex was doing and then what you actually had to do in the middle of those feelings?
I mean, guys don't want to hear this, but you have to hear it. Like,
Yes.
if you were married to this woman, I was married for 10 years, my divorce. I knew every button to push. She knew every button to push. So when you're going through this divorce, I don't care who you are. I don't care how well you mask it, how well you pretend, how many chicks you're banging on the weekend, how many Porsches you got. It doesn't matter. There's pain for a man. There's humiliation. There's embarrassment. There's fear. And when you look at it, like when we were going through our divorce, it was very amicable, right? And what I mean by amicable is we were like, yeah, we just sat down, we chopped it all up. I mean, I didn't have what I have now, and it wasn't too hard to split everything up. And we'd pick up and drop off the kids and everything was good. And then a man came in the space and she started dating
Mm,
somebody, and he wanted to be the hero. He wanted to be the man who was the rock for her. And so naturally he needed an adversary, and I was the adversary. And that's where everything changed for me, where he started saying stuff and doing things, and I would hear things through my kids, and I was not in a good place emotionally. I was able to mask it easily because we're the best liars on planet Earth. We lie to ourselves more than anybody else. And in that moment, like, there was about a year where she and I were doing everything we could to just hurt each other. And I'm not talking
mm,
like like I would say the things and do the things. I would intentionally show up late to drop off. I would intentionally like be a couple days late with child support, or I would be intentionally over here, or I would be saying this, or I'd say that. And she would do the same thing, because in that pain and frustration, like it's real for everybody. We get it. Like I would like call my lawyer. I heard this, and he's telling my kids this, and she's doing this, and she went and spent the money for child support on this, and she went and bought this, and I was out of my mind. And I get it, because this is where I relate to every single dude that's gone through this. And the second that you say, yeah, but, you're gone, you're lost. Yeah, but she. And that was the pivotal moment for me where I realized every time I said, yeah, but, I gave her
Mm.
all my power. She had all the power. For a year, she had all the power because I was literally operating from a place of defense, of trying to get her in trouble. I hired PIs to watch because she was dating a dude. She's living in a huge house, driving an Escalade, and the dude that she was dating didn't have a car, so she would drive across town to pick him up to bring him back over so that they could hang out. And as a guy my ego was checked. My ego was, I'm like, dude, you're living in this 7,000 square foot house, picking up a dude who he's a waiter. He was literally a waiter at a freaking fast food restaurant. You think my ego wasn't friggin' all over the place? And I did
Yeah.
everything humanly possible to push the buttons. And it was that. It took about a year for me to understand that, like, I was creating this madness. And what I talk about in the very real figure, like, imagine, guys, imagine she's holding a gun. Might not be the right terminology in divorce and all that, but just understand what I'm saying. Don't be an idiot about it. Imagine she's holding a gun and you're the one putting the bullets in the gun. All the dumb shit you say, all the stupid text messages you send, all the intentional things that you pull the triggers on, you show up early, you show up late, you say this, you say that. You're the one. I was the one putting the bullets in the gun. And the second that I took all the bullets out of the gun, everything changed. She couldn't shoot me with anything. She couldn't hurt me. She couldn't say
Yeah.
anything because I wasn't being a dick. Like, one of my coach, he challenged me. He's like, I want you to write her a letter of appreciation. And
Mm.
I'm like, bro, listen, if she got hit by a bus, I'd be like, I'd buy the bus driver a box of chocolates and send him a Christmas card forever. That's where I was mentally, emotionally. I was so angry, so sad, so pissed off. And he's like, I want you to write her a letter of appreciation. And I'm like, no, I'll do whatever else. And I knew that's why he challenged me to do that, because it was the last thing that I wanted to do. Like, dude,
Yeah.
I'll drag my balls through broken glass before I tell this chick I appreciate her. I hate her. It took me 3 months to write that letter. And it was like, I'd write it and I'd be like, hey, just want to tell you I appreciate you. And like, secretly, it was like, yeah, you, right? But I realized that I wasn't writing that letter for her. I wasn't writing that letter to her. It was for me. And
Yeah.
this is where I think most men, the majority of men, this is the reason male suicide is so high. This is the reason so many men are so depressed, so addicted, is because checking the ego is the hardest thing we'll do. It was the hardest
Yeah.
thing I did. And I wrote her that letter, and that was really the beginning of my healing. And by me healing, it healed all of it. And like,
Yeah.
I realized that I was the one really fanning the flames, and I would blame her. And I just realized I'm the one I'm literally saying dumb shit via text message, via whatever. I'm giving her the bullets to shoot back at me. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of guys that probably need to hear this. Like, though there might be a time where you sit down in court and all those text messages show up. And I will never forget, as long as I live, being in a court hearing with her, and the judge is reading these text messages. And I was like, eh. It was like I wanted to just shrink down in my chair and be like, shit, I said that. I'm like, what a fucking idiot, right? But that's
Yeah.
who we are. It's what we do. And I think the thing that
Yeah.
is so powerful, and right now, I mean, this is 13, 14 years later, she and I have an amazing friendship, an amazing relationship. So good. Like, we're just so connected, and we're raising the kids, and the kids are awesome. And I've got a great relationship with her husband, who was the guy she was dating at the time. And it took me doing that. I took the bullets out of the gun. I wanted to shoot, dude. I wanted to prove my
Yeah.
story. I wanted to prove my side. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to be mad. I wanted to say these things. I didn't want another man coming in my kids' lives, telling them to call him dad. Like, I looked in the mirror and I did the hardest thing. I did everything that I didn't want to do. And that's ultimately
Yeah.
not only what healed our relationship, but healed me. And I will
Yeah.
forever be grateful for it. But I had to go through it to understand it.
Yeah. What when you're looking back in that season and, you're hot, you're angry, you're not getting your way, you're super intelligent, you know how to strategize, it's not going the way that you want, and you're looking at this situation, did you notice any of your behavior going off on the kids? What was that like?
Well, initially, right at the beginning, and I think my kids are amazing. Like, they were pretty young when we got divorced. And I think one of the reasons that I have such a strong bond with my kids is I've been so open with them. And now, like, as she and I
Yeah.
have navigated raising them, it's like, it's been really powerful for us and we're very connected. But like, we all play private detective. We all play private eye. You're asking your
Yeah.
kids, so who's mom hanging out with? What's mom doing? Where's mom going? What's mom saying? Where's mom at? What's mom? And I did that for a while until, I started to make this transition and this change. And I realized, like, when I pay her child support, it doesn't matter what she does with the money. And as
Yeah.
long as I keep wondering and trying to dictate how she raises them, what she says, who's around them, like, I signed the divorce papers. Like, I signed an agreement that said that I no longer wanted to be married to you. I had no connection with you. Like, you are your own sovereign woman. I am my own sovereign man. But I think what I learned through it, what I know I learned through it, is initially it was really unhealthy and the kids just didn't need that. They didn't ask for the divorce. They didn't want two separate houses and two separate closets and mom's house and dad's house and whose shoes are over here and my shoes are over there and the backpacks and the things. They didn't ask for any of that shit. They don't want to be interrogated. They come over to dad's house. They want to play. We want to run. We want to go have fun with dad. And dad's being a damn private investigator. And then all of a sudden they're like, I don't, and that was going on both sides. And I just realized, I'm like, when I started to heal, I just realized when they're with me, I want to be the most present, loving, connected father, period. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what's happening on the other side. It doesn't matter what's happening at the other house. It doesn't matter what these kids say. Mom said, he said, the boyfriend said, whatever. I'm like, when they're with me, I will give them me. I will give them love. I will give them attention. I want them to want to come to my home and to be with me because they feel love. They feel connected. They don't feel like they're prisoners or they're being interrogated. Like, I want to become the best version of Sean as a single guy, as a divorced guy, as a co-parent, humanly possible.
Yeah.
And that ultimately became, I think, the root of like our healing and our connection. And it's hard to do. Trust me, it's hard. Like, I get it, but
Yeah.
it's
When
the
when
only
you were
thing
in
you
that
can.
that when you were in that dark moment, Sean, and it's not, nothing's going your way. You're bankrupt. You're divorced. Identity is absolutely tossed out the window. It's shredded. It's shredded to pieces. You you've built this life that's now gone. And ego, you mentioned ego a few times. For you, and I know these guys that are listening, there's a lot of guys that are in there and they're really smart guys, man. I talked to a lot of smart guys. Myself, I was in that place, you were in that place. What and how in the world did you actually find a human being? Like you mentioned a coach, you found somebody and you crossed that line to say, shoot me straight. Like how did you get to that point?
Hmm. I talk about this in my book, and I had a night where I almost took my life. It was that was the turning point for me. Is I was navigating
Yeah.
this fresh in divorce. I was angry. I was sad. I was up. I was down. I was all over the place. And I had one night where I literally had a Ruger P95 and a bottle of whiskey and the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. And it was it was the dark night of the soul. And I will never
Mm,
forget it. I remember laying on my bed, drinking and just crying and being pissed off and like feeling the weight, like I did it all wrong. Like I screwed all this up. My kids are going to hate me forever. No one's going to see me the same. I'm just a freaking failure. God's ashamed of me. Everybody's ashamed. It was like, I'm a train wreck. And I almost killed myself that night. And God had a different plan. I woke up the next morning. I had a bottle of whiskey sitting on my nightstand, and I had a Ruger P95 sitting next to my pillow. And I remember the very first thought that I had wasn't like, how do I just didn't want to die. I didn't know anything
mhm.
else. I didn't know what direction to go, how to do anything. I was like, I just want to live. Like, I know that I don't want to die. I don't know what to do with the anger and the pain. And there was like you talked about the blender. I just had that singular moment where I was like, I don't want to die. I knew that thing for certain. Like, that was for certain. I didn't want to check out. And I'll never forget as long as I live, like reaching out to my buddy who became, I mean, I've known this guy, Garrett White, Wake Up Warrior. I knew him long
Yeah,
before
yeah.
Warrior, long before Lions Not Sheep.
Legend.
And I hit him up and he had just started Warrior. Like, I was guy number one.
Mm,
I was guy number one with Wake
mm.
Up Warrior. He talks about this, and he and I have known each other and he's like, I'm going to do this thing, this whole program and whatever else. And he's like, he asked me a question that has become really a foundation of Lions Not Sheep. And it's probably one of the most powerful questions you can ever ask a human being, and one of the most powerful questions you'll ever answer. And the question was, what do you want? I want more money, and I want to be happy, and I want all these things, and I want all this stuff, and I want whatever, and I want her to do, and I want the market. And it was interesting because like I sat with it, and I remember answering him saying, I don't want to be angry anymore. Like I knew that I just didn't want to be angry. And I think deep down,
Yeah.
when men strip away all the bull crap, we strip away all of the ego and all of the fear and all of the pain. I just knew that I didn't want to be angry. And that became like the starting point of my journey with him. And really what he made me do, he confronted me on, and this is why I love coaching and why I love mentoring, is men should not be looking for high fives and ass pats.
Mm.
Like we should be looking for mirrors. We should be looking for men that are willing to reflect our own ego and our own pride, because that's the only way we grow. And he was the first person in my life, of anybody that was in my space, any friends, any acquaintances, who called me forward. He called me out. He called me forward. And he's like,
Yeah.
you're lying. You're lying. And that really became the first domino to tip over, because I'm like, if I asked everybody on this call, every single person you share this with, are you a liar? Everybody will say, no, I don't. Well, do you tell the truth? No one's going to openly be like, yeah, I'm a liar. But we say, no, we don't lie, but we don't tell the truth. So what is it? And I was living in
Yeah.
this world of gray, and there was nothing definitive. And it was like you're sprinting on the hamster wheel. And once I got clear of the fact that I was lying, that I was angry, that I said dumb shit to piss this woman off, that I made my choices, like I made the decisions that I made, I did these things, that was truth. And it's like the hardest pill to swallow, but it's truth. And until a man
Yeah.
can get people in his life who are willing to call him forward and be like, dude, you're lying, it becomes such a powerful place. And just, I'll finish with this on this thought process is, I've been blessed to coach tens of thousands of people over the last
Yeah.
decade through Lions Not Sheep.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is, guys, if you want kind of the social experiment on this, just think about this. Like if I said to you right now, what do you want? And you say, well, I want more money. Well, what does that mean? And this is what I'm
Yeah.
really good at. And this is what a really good coach is. Like, what does that mean? More money. Well, what I have found 100 out of 100 times is that when you actually have someone who's willing to not appease the simple, because most dudes be like, I want more money. Be like, yeah, bro, me too. Cool. All right, let's go play golf. There's no movement there. There's no truth. There's no rawness. And what I have
Yeah.
found is, you ask, like, why more money? Well, how much more money? And eventually with a man, you peel back some of the layers and come to find out he hates his job. He doesn't even want to do this anymore. It has nothing to do with money. He just doesn't like what he does for a living. And so it's like that, those mirrors, those people that come into your life who piss you off, who
Yeah.
make you look at yourself and make you own the truth, discover what it really is. And the truth was, I was angry. It wasn't about money, and I didn't know how to not be angry. And
Yeah.
so, like, I think once men get to that place where it's like, dude, I'm sick of hiding and lying, it's humiliating. It's embarrassing. That very first post of mine that went viral that I shared, which started all of this, it was embarrassing. It's humiliating to own your truth. And I wrote this post one
Yeah.
night, said, yeah, I was a dick. And I didn't, for the first time in my life, I didn't say, but it was because, I just said, I was a
Mm.
dick, period. I pushed every button that I could, period. And the reason that I did it is because I was ashamed. And the reason that I did it is because I was scared. The reason that I did it
Yeah.
was because I had this little boy that I had not figured out how to navigate, and I had just whatever. And I took 100% accountability. And that was ultimately the first post that went viral that led to what I've been doing for the last decade and a half. But it was truth. And it was having that
Yeah.
mirror, having a human being that's willing to make you look at your truth. And there's no judgment around it. Garrett never judged me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're angry or
Yeah.
not. I just want you to tell the truth. And that's the single greatest liberator. That's the single greatest place for a man to be, is standing in truth. And it might be embarrassing. It might be humiliating. It might be a bucket full of shame, but it's real. And the second that you
Hmm.
can get to that real spot, then you can build a different life.
What was underneath the fear? Or sorry, what was underneath the anger? If there was a fear that was attached to the anger, what did it look like and sound like?
Oh, dude, you want to have a full blown therapy session here, huh?
Well, I
There
know
was a
that
lot.
I know
No, I
that
get.
well,
Yeah,
on my side, guys are angry, brother. They're angry,
right.
and what's helpful for them is they haven't actually done some of these things, and so what you're about to tell them and share with them, they're going to be things that if they just took a couple layers deep, they're going to be like, yeah, that's actually where this is coming from.
I will tell you, and it is the simplest thing. And here's what I've learned over the last decade, coaching literally tens of thousands of people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men. We are no different. Anthony, you,
Yeah.
me, Bob, Tom, Chris, Alex, all of us. Like, I don't care who you are, black, white. It doesn't matter whether you're raised by race. This answer is the universal truth for every man, and why every man, right here, right now, in the sound of my voice, is where they are. Up, down, whatever else. It's because we are liars. Hard stop. Hard stop. And I'll prove this to you. I was born and raised Catholic. I joined the Mormon church. I've done the religious game. It doesn't matter. Go back to
Hmm.
when you and me were kids.
Yep.
Did you pick your name, Anthony?
Nope.
Did you decide when you came out of the womb, say, guys, I'd like to speak English?
Nope.
You and me and tens of millions of other men were programmed from very beginning. And most of us, whether you went through homeschool or public education, 99.9% of us went through public education. Little kid, here's what's good, here's what's bad. Here's what's right, here's what's wrong. Do this, you'll go to heaven. Do this, you go to hell. Do this, this makes God happy, your mom happy, your dad happy. So you and me and millions, every man listening to this, we were programmed when we were little children to lie. You go to school, sit down, quiet down, slow down, raise your hand. And what's crazy is if you go back to how we were programmed, it was to do what it is that will make other people comfortable.
Yes.
Do this, follow this path, go to school, get a job, work your way up, retire. Do these things to make mom and dad proud. Do these things to make your teachers proud and your coaches proud and your grandparents proud. And never at any point in time did we become accustomed or comfortable with telling the truth. And this is what's really fascinating to me is, I mean, I was the avatar. Because if
Yeah.
you'd asked me when I was in my early 20s, like, how you doing? I'll prove this to you. Ask an average guy, how you doing? Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough patch. Meanwhile, what's really happening is he contemplated suicide last night.
Yeah.
He's struggling with addiction. That's lying. That's that DNA. That's that programming that every single man is going through right now. The reason
Yes.
men are killing themselves at an all-time high, it's not because there's a lack of money, and it's not because there's a lack of pussy. Let's call it what it really is. Any man can go down to the local bar and find companionship. It's because we're full of shit, and we don't know how to tell the truth. And if we tell the truth, we get judged. Our whole culture and
Yes.
society has this thing backwards. We're trying to castrate men, get them to be neutered little puppies. And as men, we're like, oh, dude, Bob, I went golfing with him and he was telling me all of his bullshit. That's the last time we bring him. So Bob won't tell you the truth. Bob will just drink a bunch of drinks, play golf with you, go home and then blow his brains out. That's really where
Yeah.
men are. And I believe this as real as I see the sun. Like, it is the single greatest challenge to men, to masculinity, to mankind, period, right now is who do I have to become to tell the truth? And I know
Yeah.
for me, that's what changed my life. That's what I've been blessed to work with thousands of people with over the last decade is we don't think of ourselves as liars. We don't think that we're lying, but we're not telling the truth. And the reason we're not is because we've been programmed not to upset people, not to disturb people, not to go outside of the status quo. Here's the box. Here's how we vacation. Here's what we do. Now, all of a sudden, you're a 35, 40, 45, 50-year-old man going, is this it?
Yeah.
Is this it? Like, I want to go travel the world. I want to ravish my woman. I want to come home in the middle of the day and have crazy, insane sex. And I haven't had sex with her in months. and I'm too big of a pussy to actually tell her the truth of what I really want, because then she'll judge me and it'll be like, oh, well, Sean's got all these issues and things, and I want to start this business and I have the plan and the thing, but if I do it, my mom and dad are going to go, wait a second, you went to Vanderbilt and you got this great education. And inside of man, we have all of these things and passions and loves and desires and all of this masculine stuff that we were programmed with. And we're literally just walking around as timid little puppies because
Yeah.
we're not willing to tell the truth.
So for you, when you first started to get back on, it's almost like, this matrix, right, that you hit and all of a sudden your mind's opened up and you start seeing things differently. You start doing this, you're working with somebody now who's calling you out, who's calling you forward, right, to, basically become the Sean that's always been there. So as that happens, and you said this word earlier than we were talking, and it's a word that I use frequently because I believe it is a gateway drug, and the word is accountability. And I throw that word to you for you in this state that you were in as you started to rebuild. What did accountability actually look like for you?
Shame, anger, frustration, all of that. Because once you take out the equation of blaming somebody,
Yeah,
right, it's embarrassing. You're ashamed. Like
yeah,
you look at how you showed up in your marriage and you're like, shit, man, I kind of was a
yeah.
dick. Or I kind of forgot to date her. I forgot to be madly, passionately in love with her. I forgot to work on myself. I take my shirt off. I look like a
Mm,
freaking the Michelin Man. Why would a girl want to fuck me? Yeah, I was a high school football player, college football player. Now I'm a fat sack of crap who works 20 hours a day. No wonder she started banging the pool boy. And when you take ownership,
mm,
accountability is so embarrassing and it's so humiliating, but it is so freaking powerful. And I think one of the things that men struggle with the most, we don't fear failing. There's not a man on here who feels failing. Because if I asked every single guy listening to this, how many times have you failed before in life? Lost money, da da da. I'll raise my hands twice. I'll raise both my hands because I've done it a ton.
yeah,
None of us fear failing. We fear being judged for failing. We fear
yeah,
the judgments of the world and the market and the friends and the college buddies and the golfing buddies and the Harley buddies and the whole thing. And so when you look at accountability, it's way easier to just skirt and push everything and say, well, this was because of her, or the market did this, or the president did this, or, I sent this text message because I was angry, or I did these things because she did, or whatever else. Accountability is so hard because
yeah,
it's so vulnerable. It's so exposing. It's like, what are the nightmares that we always had as kids? Like the biggest nightmare was like standing up in front of the class naked, right? Like we've all had that nightmare. Every man has had that nightmare of like standing up and everybody's pointing and laughing. And we've all had that nightmare, even when we were little kids. It's the same thing as adults.
yeah,
We're definitely afraid of exposing who we really are and what we really are.
yeah,
But that's
yeah. It's so true.
that's the key that unlocks the door to real freedom, to
Yeah.
real
When you
freedom.
when you were when you were going through this stuff, and I know this is a progress, and I know that the dads that are listening, we talk about this a lot. And I mean, you're saying stuff already, Sean, that's going to blow their mind because you're not giving them the pat on the back, and you're not, you're calling them forward, you're calling them out, which is absolutely what we do in our community because I believe that is the way to freedom. One of the things you said there with your former spouse was as you wrote the letter or whatever you were challenged to do. There's this word that comes up a lot. It's called forgiveness, and I just be curious what that word sounds like to you, and what did it actually play out to look like?
You know, it's funny because I was raised in an environment where like I'm kind of the opposite, where you don't typically trust people until you have to earn their trust. I was raised the opposite. I trust everybody until you screw me over.
Yeah,
Once you screw me over, it's like you
yeah,
might as well not exist, right? But
yeah,
when I started to really, I think when you look at yourself and you really become accustomed and comfortable with who you really are, like really think about, we're only a few generations off from where if Anthony and Sean didn't go up in the mountains and shoot an animal and bring it home, we didn't eat. We
yeah,
think because we have self-driving cars and cell phones and glasses that can see for us, like that we're these smart, sophisticated people, but like deeply rooted in the DNA of man, is a savage, a warrior. We built shit with our hands. Like our whole world was built by brawn and strength. And that's not some cheesy meme. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, once I started looking at myself saying, I do have anger, I have fear. I still to this day, I'm 47 years old. I've made tens of millions of dollars. I bought Lamborghinis. I have a 500-acre ranch. I got more guns than I know what to do with. I get paralyzed by fear at times still.
Yeah.
And I think once men understand who they really are, you look at other people and you have compassion.
Mm.
Like I looked at my ex-wife, like, and I wanted to be angry and I wanted to blame her. And I was like, damn, I forgive you for all the things you did because I did some pretty stupid shit myself. And I
Yeah.
think once you become human enough to look at it and say, I am a flawed individual, it's way easier. Like, look, this is what our whole culture is built on, bro, is
Yeah.
TMZ exists because we look at the celebrity or we look at the person or we go back and one dude was blackface in college or somebody said retard. And now all of a sudden it's like, you know what I'm saying? We judge so fiercely and so critically. But the second that it comes to us, we're like, no, 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 no. Once you get to a place where you're like, damn, man, everybody's trying to figure this out. My ex-wife's trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to go navigate divorce with a friggin' lunatic like me. Like you find so much empathy and compassion and I think that's really where, for me, growing Lions Not Sheep and coaching and meeting men and meeting women and like being in this space, like when you start looking at other human beings as human beings like you that are trying to figure it all out, it's hard to be angry at them. It's hard to
Yeah.
carry resentment. Like I forgive, like I forgive my dad. I don't have any guile towards anybody. I don't wish anybody ill because I realize that if you woke up today and you're trying to navigate life like I am,
Yeah.
I want to be forgiven for my shortcomings. I want to be forgiven when I say stupid crap. I want to be forgiven when I slip up or when I whatever else. So how could I ever in a million years expect that from people, but not give that to people in return?
Yeah. Sean, I don't know if guys can, if they're watching the video and they can see you, or if they're not following you online, they need to follow you online. But some of the things I've seen, especially recently with, just your physical regiment is, off the charts. And you mentioned before that you were like sort of a Michelin man. I know a lot of guys that are watching this, and I know even for myself, there was that stage where you just kind of, as you get older, there's always another excuse.
Right.
And I love guys to hear just what it sounded like for you when you felt like the Michelin man, and then when something clicked for you and said, "No, this isn't what's going to continue to happen." What was that like for you, dude?
Oh man, that's such a deep question. We could do a couple hour podcast just on that because the mentality of it is what
Yeah,
changes everything in your life.
yeah,
Like if you're a man right now and you're not where you want to be financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, whatever it is, like really think about this for a second. I was raised by two parents who were out of shape.
yeah,
Neither of them was in shape. We didn't eat healthy as kids. My mom was overweight, my dad was overweight. Fitness, health, and it was never programmed in me, right? I played high school football and I've always been active. I've done 2 Ironmans. I've had 5 professional MMA fights. And the story in my head, my entire life was the guys who have six packs go to the gym for 4 or 5 hours a day or their genetics are good.
yeah,
I got fat parents. I heard the big butt. That was the story. And 100%, not like 80, 100% of our current reality is based around a story.
yes,
And so about 8 years ago, I was one of the first guys when this lunatic named Andy Frisella came out with this program called
yeah,
75 Hard. I was like, I'll do that. And I did it. And it was the first time in my life that I actually quit telling the stories because I hadn't. And if you're familiar with 75 Hard, you know that like you have your 45-minute outdoor workout and it's hard. It's hard because it requires a lot of you. And I have told this for years and years and years. 75 Hard is not a fitness program. It's a mental program. And what I realized is that those late nights when it was midnight and I hadn't done my outdoor workout yet, every story was like, you're tired, your body needs rest, and I'll double up tomorrow. And that is
mm,
why I had the results that I had for my entire life on fitness.
yes,
And it was the first time in my life where I was like, I would literally put my Crocs on and I'd be half asleep doing my outdoor walk because I was like, I have to just keep my word to myself. To make a long story short, within 75 days, I had a six pack for the first time in my life. And I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I just hadn't gone far enough.
Yeah.
I reached my peak. I'm done. It's the last rep I can do. I can't do anymore. I'll go harder. The doctor says I need rest. And they say this. I just hadn't gone far enough for Sean Whalen. I hadn't gone deeper into the pool. And that moment changed me because I haven't not had a six pack in the last 8 years. I'm in the best shape of my life at 47 years old. But I want to share this story really quick because I think a lot of guys will relate to this.
Yeah. Good.
I don't think very many men understand what they're really capable of. And I promise you, it's not a market. It's not a cheeseburger. I mean, dude, I've blown out both of my knees. I had spinal stenosis. I had spine surgery. I have an artificial meniscus in here. Like I blew out my bicep a couple of years ago, and I'm in the best shape of my life. I pinched nerve in my neck. I have Raynaud's disease. I have arthritis. I got the whole freaking ball of wax. I have every reason to not look how I look and not be how I am. I remember this vividly. Like, this changed my life. And I want guys to understand this because if you can truly wrap your head around this, fellas, there is no excuse. There's zero. I had a client of mine who joined my coaching program and he was a snake breeder. And it was interesting because I hated snakes.
Yeah.
And most guys listening, they hate snakes. I find him in the yard. I'd hit him with a shovel, whatever. Long story short, I'd go to his facility. He has like 150 snakes. He breeds really high-end snakes, whatever. And I'd always be the dude. He's like, I'd like touch it like this, whatever. And one day, this is during the 75 hard season. This is kind of where everything started changing. I called him and I was like, yo, I want a snake. And I don't know whether God was like, I blacked out one day or whatever, but it was just like, I just called him. I said, I want a snake. And he's like, yeah, but you hate snakes. I'm like, I know, but I for some reason, I just need the snake. He's like, Bert, are you sure? Like, are you high right now? Like, have you been drinking? And I'm like, no, bro, I want a snake. A couple days later, he brings me this plastic container. It's like this big and a little teeny 12-inch reticulated python.
Oh my gosh.
Brings it over to my house. He's like, bro, are you sure about this? Because I hated snakes. Other guys have six packs. Other guys are millionaires. Other guys are this, the story, the market and the thing. And I didn't go to college and I'm a high school dropout and I can't. I ended up getting the snake. And later that day, he's like, dude, if you want the snake to be nice, you have to play with it. I'm like, bro, how do you play with a snake? Like, I might throw a ball to my dog. He brings it back and play with my dog. Like, he's like, yeah, I just take it out and let him crawl around and whatever. Later that day, I was standing in my kitchen. I took this snake out and I'm like, I'm waiting for the pet store guy to come over and take it from me. The snake's crawling around and crawling around. And this might sound really funny to guys, but if you actually can hear this with your heart and understand that every single one of you has deeply rooted stories that you simply haven't rewritten, that's the ticket to all of this. The snake is like crawling on my arm and I'm in my kitchen and this snake does one of those that like pops up and looks at me. And I'm like, this is where I die. Like, we're going to die. And I had this really crazy spiritual experience where I'm looking at this snake and I was almost having this conversation where the snake's looking at me like, what's up, dog? And I'm like, why am I afraid of this thing?
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was like, I'm looking at it and I was like, why the hell am I afraid of you? Like, you're cool as shit. Like, and I had this moment where I realized I had no idea why I hated snakes. Like, really, I had no clue. I'd never been bitten by one. I wasn't in the Amazon and got choked out by one. I was programmed as a little child by two parents that hated snakes to not like snakes. And I spent 40 years of my life hating snakes, not knowing why I hated snakes. I didn't have a reason to hate snakes. I didn't have a knowledge base. I didn't have a reason to understand that I could believe that I could build a six pack or make millions of dollars or be a good dad. My dad was an alcoholic, abusive dick. I mean, and I had this spiritual experience and all of a sudden, like, everything became a game to me.
Yeah.
And now Butters is 14 feet long, weighs 120 pounds and lives in my basement. And I take Butters out and Butters will crawl around and me and Butters are homies. But I realized that everything that Anthony's going through, that Sean's going through is a story.
Yeah.
And when you zoom out and look at everything like that in life, why is it that I've never built a six pack? This is the reason, truthfully, man, like, that I talk about six pack so much because number one, it's so hard to do, and it's
Yes.
so much discipline and so much consistency. But when you rewrite the story and you achieve it, it's almost like the Matrix, where you take the pill and you go in and you're like, holy shit, well, what else can I do?
Yes.
And now my mindset is I look at every single thing happening in life as a story. How do I rewrite this story? Because if you're the author and I'm the author, the master of our fate, captain of our soul, then really all I'm doing is I've got this old book with all of these old stories. It's like, you hate snakes. All right. What do I have to do to rewrite that story?
Yeah.
Six packs are for other guys, not you. Great. What do I have to do to rewrite that story? It's not possible for me to be seen and loved by a woman because I've never had that. Okay. Well, what do I do to rewrite it? How do I make $1 million a month? Like, how do I become independently wealthy? How do I buy a Lamborghini? Like, it's all a story.
Yes.
And when you zoom out and look at it, like that time, that season became pivotal for me. And for the last 8 years or so, I have been jacked out of my mind. I'm 47. I'm in the best shape of my life. And it's because I rewrote that story. And every level physically I get to, I'm kind of like, well, how much further can I go? Like, where can I take this? What can I do? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I look at
Yeah.
my business as the same way. Cool, I've made millions. Like, well, how do I do this? And how do I do this? And I want to be able to have a dope sex life with my woman. And we're kind of in this space. Well, what do I have to do to rewrite the story that she doesn't like sex with me or she's not attracted to me? How do I rewrite all of these stories? And it's almost like that closing scene of The Matrix when Neo finally sees it.
Yeah.
You remember that scene where the agents are down the hall and he's looking around and it's like his little kid. He's like, oh, well, this is how you play the game. This is the
Yeah.
game. And now all of a sudden, as a man, you're like, story. Why do I
Yeah.
do this? Why do I feel this way? Why can't I feel love? Why can't I give love? Why am I an egomaniac? Why is money so important to me? And it just becomes a game.
Yeah.
And I think the best place, I'll finish with this, the best place for a man to start is with his body.
Yes.
Because no, it doesn't matter whether it's raining or snowing, doesn't matter who the president is, doesn't matter if you're single, if you're married, if you have a great sex life or a terrible sex life. Every man is 100% in control of his body. There's no one and nothing that can dictate the success that you have with your body. And that's why, for me, I'm so passionate about men getting jacked,
Yeah.
because you can't blame anybody. And I promise you, every man listening to me, once you get jacked, it rewrites the narrative.
I
And now all
agree.
of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I did something I never thought I could do. What's next?
Yeah, that's good. I'm with you on that train on the six pack mafia, brother. It is a
Yeah,
game changer. I gave myself plenty of excuses for a long time. I want to put this
me
story
too.
your way as we start to kind of land this thing. And the story that I hear a lot with guys is about, maybe they're post divorce in a little bit. They they're looking for companionship, sex, whatever you want to call it. Now you've walked down that road of dating and then being remarried, and I think what I'd like to really unfold here is that as you look back, what were things that you shouldn't have done when you were looking for somebody else?
Shouldn't have done or should have done.
Should not have done.
I should not have negotiated with my boundaries and with what I really wanted. I should not have negotiated with that. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. As a
Yeah.
Christian man who prays and believes in God, you find a hot woman who's an atheist.
Yes.
Like, one of my foundational principle beliefs is like, I want a woman of faith. I want to pray with my woman.
Yes.
It's important to me. It's something that's foundational to a relationship. Yeah, but dude, she's hot and sex is off the charts. And, she likes Chinese and I like Chinese, and she likes to run and I like to run. If that's one of your non-negotiables, if that is like one of and every man understands this, like, look, there's a lot of things that we can negotiate on in life, and like, little things that are easy. I mean, men are different than women, women are different than men. It's always going to be. But I think what a lot of guys do is they knowingly avoid the things that they know are important to them morally, socially, spiritually, because of the desire for companionship.
Yeah.
And in the back of your mind and in your heart and your soul, you like know that this isn't the right person. And I think instead of being mature enough and man enough to look at a woman and say, look, I love you and I think you're amazing, this isn't the right play for me. This isn't
Yeah.
going to work long term. And it's not you and it's not me. I think men standing in that place of power and certainty and saying, this is what I want in my woman. And we kind of like say, these are the real important things. There's like the list, right?
Yeah.
These are the things that are non-negotiable. We negotiate with all that. And I think that's really important for men to be able to walk away from something or not even entertain something
Yeah.
that seems very appealing, seems very tantalizing, seems like it would be a good time or maybe I could get her to whatever. No, like this is what it is. I think one of the things that I did wrong initially was that.
Yeah.
And what I've done right now is there's no negotiation with that.
Yeah.
Period. I don't do one night stands. I don't go out. I know myself emotionally and spiritually that it's like, if you want a queen and you're hanging out with the harlots,
Mm.
see my point?
Yeah.
And if you're hanging out with the harlots, what does that say about you?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
these guys want a good woman, and I get a whole other conversation about marriage and why marriage rates are falling and the whole thing. Guys are watching, situations like mine, no prenup, whatever. But I think men who deeply, and I know that you know this, like men with a good woman are significantly more powerful than alone.
Yes.
I think every man needs his alone season. I think everybody needs to be able to go out into the wilderness the way Jesus did, 40 days, 40 nights out in the wilderness. Every man needs to have his own little wilderness. But when a man steps into a place of power and certainty to where he can walk away from a super hot chick or good sex or whatever
Yeah.
else, because he knows that there is something greater or more powerful for him and his soul,
Yeah.
that's when it becomes really, really, really connected and also a great leader and not someone who's swimming in the shallow end of the pool.
Yeah. 100%. So in that phase as well, and I think you kind of touched on it, but I'm just be curious of how ready, like, what's the readiness need to look like for dads to get back in that game, to juggle kids? What does readiness look like? What should it look like?
I think, and this is a kind of a hard answer, but like you need to be in a place where you need nothing as a man. I don't need a woman to make me feel something.
Mm.
I don't need a woman to feel value. I was this way for a long time. I acknowledged it. I needed success in the world so that I could feel value. I needed a woman to be like constantly praising me, attaboy, keep going. When you get to a place where you need nothing
Mm.
to be happy, to be productive, to be a good father, you don't need the stimulation of social media, or you don't need the stimulation of the business, or you don't need a woman who's like your mom, basically like trying to hype you up and build you up. Like you're up by yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the baddest mother effer on planet Earth with or without you.
Yeah.
Like that's a really, really powerful place. And I think one of the things that it's kind of a double-edged sword because men have to be able to forge that on their own. But I also believe too that healing relationship, I hate the word trauma, but like in order to truly grow as a man, you have to be in a relationship to grow in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't believe there's this misnomer in, when you're ready, like it's almost like I've healed all my stuff. Now
Yeah.
I'm ready to date again. Oh shit, all the band-aids just got ripped off and I'm dealing with the same crap. Well, because you can only have that experience in a relationship. It's like saying, I want to get ripped by not lifting the weights. The only way you can get ripped is by lifting the weights. And so
Yeah.
it's the same thing in relationships, same thing in love. And I think the reason that it's so important to find somebody on the same journey as you is because you want somebody equally yoked that's on the same journey. I love energy work and stuff, and I believe in a lot of that and, whatever else. But I had this lady who was like, imagine dating. And this is really good advice for all of you guys that are single. She's like, as you're driving, like you have your true north, your goals, your vision as a man, like what you want to build, whatever, lions, not sheep, this whole thing. All of these girls that you date, it's like an exit. You're getting off an exit and you're going over here to see if this works. That didn't work. I'll get back on. And she's like, every time you do that, you take yourself out of this leadership, energetic position
Yeah.
of I'm moving forwards with or without anybody.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want you to imagine that the way the game is played is that eventually there'll be a car that pulls up alongside of you. It's a
Good.
girl.
It's good.
And you look at her and you're like, yo, what's up? Good to see you. Like, where are you going? Well, I'm going over here. Well, dope. I'm going over here too. Well, let's just carpool. You're not stopping, you're not checking, you're not looking, you're not swiping, you're not like, what about her? 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 It's like, I'm doing me.
Yeah.
I'm driving my life forward. And I truly believe this, that like when you're in that place, in that position, in that movement,
Yeah.
when you'll then have the eyes to see and the ears to hear because you're on the road. And eventually there's going to be a car and you'll be like, yo, good to see you. And that way you never stop.
Yeah.
And you now have someone that's going the same direction. And that might sound really hippy dippy for some guys, but like, I believe it with all my energy that like that's how the game is played. And you look at guys who are on different dates every night of the week with different girls, and I'm not judging it. Do whatever you want to do, bro. But like, you can't give your heart and your soul and energy and purity and love to 10 different girls. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I will debate Andrew Tate and anybody else on this all day long. Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I believe that like once a man becomes really, really good with him and he needs nothing from anybody. You want it. I want love. I want connection. I want to be wanted. Every man listening to this wants to be desired. You want your woman to look at you and be like, you're the hottest dude. I want to fuck you. I want to build with you. You want that.
Yes.
But when you need that, you're broken.
Yes.
You're not right. I shouldn't say broken. Let me take that back. I don't like that word because nobody's broken, but you're in a place of need.
Mm-hmm.
And women don't want needy men. They want powerful, driven men. And my girlfriend she and I have been dating for a bit. Like we joke about it, but it's serious. I'm like, I don't need you.
Mm-hmm.
I want you. I don't need you to build my businesses. I don't need you to feel good. I look in the mirror. I know I look good. I love when you tell me, but I don't need it to feel good.
Yeah.
And I think once the boy to man, whatever else, once a man gets so just dialed on his life and his vision and what he's doing, it actually becomes a place of peace.
Yes.
Where a woman wants that. She doesn't want like to be your mom. She doesn't want to have to coddle you and be like, oh, he's down today. Let me go hype him up. A supportive partner will. But I tell my girl all the time, like, I don't need you to make me feel better. When I'm having a shitty day, I clearly orate to you. I'm mine. I mean, it's again, that's why I said this could be a long, entire podcast on this because this is where real power comes from.
Yeah.
This happened the other day. I texted my girl. I said, look, this has nothing to do with you, but I want to burn everything to the ground today. I would love to punch every single person that I see. I'm in this mode. I'm in this space. I love you. I'll hit you back in a couple of hours. She's like, cool. Do you need anything from me? Nope. But we've gotten to that where the old me would have been with women that are like, is everything good? Like, are we good? Do you need to talk about anything? Where are you at? I want to come bring you shit. And it's like, that energy. And a couple hours later, I went to the gym, smashed some weights, got some stuff done. I got my mind right. And I'm like, hey, where you at? Let's hang out.
Yeah.
And there was like no drama or whatever, but I did that for me.
Yeah.
And I don't need her to save me. I don't need her to do that. But I really feel powerfully that like when men can get super clear on who they are and what they want, they don't negotiate with anything else. You don't entertain anything else. And that's a real, real powerful place to be as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a father, as a leader, as a man.
Yeah. Let me give you one last question here, Sean, quickly. There's a guy that's listening right now. He's probably close to that place where you were at 15 years ago, bankrupt, divorced, and questioning everything, maybe 2, 3 in the morning. What would you want to say to that guy right now?
Congratulations. Welcome. Like, I don't say that sarcastically. Good for you. Like, you strip a man of everything. You take away his pride, his ego, his value, his everything. That's one of the coolest places for a man to be. Truly. Yeah. Because the one thing I know about men is that you throw him off a cliff, he will build wings. He will. He will do it. And it might be raw, it might be hard, it might be embarrassing, but like that, if you're that guy in that space, don't run from it. Don't sedate from it. Sit in it. Sit in it. One of the most powerful things that I've experienced in the last 2 decades of my life came in 2024. I mean, again, longer story for a different day. I got remarried in 2021. I was married for 3 years, a 36-month marriage. Out of the blue, my wife files for divorce.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to get into it. It rocked me to my core. I mean, I've got millions of followers. I'm this guy. I've got this podcast with her.
Yeah.
I'm talking to people about love and connection and relationship. I'm building lions, not sheep. We're flying on jets. I'm racing cars. And all of a sudden, literally, like, we celebrated our 3-year anniversary. And a couple weeks later, I have divorce papers. And I'm like, well, like, what? What just happened? In 2024, I did something that I'd never done before. I just sat.
Yeah.
And I think what most men do, it's like, all right, let's go, let's build, let's sedate. Da, 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 da. And that's how I had been my entire life. I had never just sat. And I'm not talking about for a 30-minute meditation session, like, and then bing, right back at it, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sat for like 6 months and I watched my world burn. I didn't defend. I didn't try and prove. I didn't try and validate. I didn't try and share my side of the story. And it was the hardest thing that I've ever done because I wanted to just not feel what I felt.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the greatest opportunity for men right now, if you are in that space, literally like turn your phone off, go walk outside and just lay in the grass.
Yeah.
How, I don't know, till the sun goes down. It's the hardest yet most powerful thing that a man will do is to just sit and be able to listen and hear, because it's the exact opposite of what everything that we're programmed to believe. We're problem solvers, we're fixers. It's broken, go fix it. There's a problem, solve it. That's what we do in our marriages, what we do with our kids, what we do in our business. It's what we do as men. And one of the hardest things that a man will do is to just sit. People say, well, then what? Do I journal? No, just sit. And I did it for the first time, and it was the most liberating, healing, difficult place for me to be, because I wanted to just keep going and fixing and dating and things. And if you're in that spot, dude, like, understand that, number one, you've made it through every single storm so far.
Yeah.
It will end. It will end. And God is significantly more aware and significantly more powerful than we probably give him credit for. Like, if you want the light, you must understand the dark.
Yes.
Like, if you want to truly be seen for who you are, you must see yourself for who you are. And this isn't some airy-fairy, hippy-dippy shit, man. This is real. Like, if you want to truly be free of all of the shame and the guilt and the fear and all of the things that all of us men carry, sit in it. I mean, Daniel in the lion's den, Job, I can go through a million Bible stories about guys who were shredded, like the Jezebel spirit, they got the wrong chick, whatever it is. It's like Daniel stands in that lion's den, like the fire and it's just like, when you think about being a man who can sit and feel everything, it's one of the most
Yeah.
and then literally, like, tell the truth.
Yeah. That's
Feel
good.
what you feel, see what you see, and then just tell the truth. Like, go to your friends, go to mentors, go to you, go to me, go to whatever. Hey, man, Anthony, I don't know what the hell to do with my life. Like, good, welcome.
Yeah.
Let's
Welcome
go on a
aboard.
journey. Welcome, let's go on a journey. Like, let's figure it out, 2024 changed my life in a way that I still don't even really have words for. But the one thing that I did that I had never done before is I sat.
Yeah. Dude, that's so good. I want to give guys a space and a place and give you something for them to take a next step. Like, where can they find you? What would you recommend for them? Sean, what's your latest project? Let us know now.
I mean, I got Lions Not Sheep. I mean, I'm rebuilding me. It was 2 years of a complete rebirth for myself, like trying to figure out how and what. And I was 45 years old, 46 years old, going through it, what I never in a million years thought I'd be going through. So I'm easy to find online, social media, Facebook, Instagram, my website. But yeah, man, like, I am more infatuated and more in love with life than I've ever been in my entire life. Like, I am more excited about who I am and what I am and the calling and what God has me doing than I've ever been in my entire life. And it's come through the darkest, most painful, most humiliating, most embarrassing seasons most men will ever go through.
Yeah. Well, it's good, brother. I want to just say thank you for your time and being here. Guys, if you haven't subscribed or followed on Spotify or Apple, do it now. 2 clicks gets this to another dad who's in a worse shape than you are, drives the algorithm crazy. It helps us reach more men, ultimately transforming a million dads around this globe. I want to say thank you again to Sean for just being here, his presence, his intelligence, his wisdom. And all of you guys know I pray for you and think about you all this week. If you're not in our school group, get in it. If you haven't followed Sean yet, you need to get all of his stuff at Lions Not Cheap. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. God bless you.